Hello everyone, welcome back to the class. In this class, we are going to discuss about the structure of the testis. This video is going to be a short video and a very straightforward video. So without wasting any more time, let us begin. The first thing that we are going to study about the testis is its location and gross morphology. So in the first line, it is written that testes are oval, paired organs that are present in the male. Oval means they are oval in shape. Paired means that there are two testes and they are present in males. And specifically, we are referring to human testis over here. Now, first thing that we are going to study about the testis is its location and its development. So generally, people think that because testes are located in the scrotum, they develop there. But that is a misconception. Testes actually develop inside the abdominal cavity. So their development begins during the intrauterine life, that is when the fetus is within the womb of the mother, and it begins development in the abdomen. So when the child is inside the mother's womb, at that time, the gonads develop within the body, and that gonad is called a bipotential gonad. Bipotential means that gonad has the ability to develop both into either into a testis or into the ovary. And that basically depends on the chromosome, the sex chromosome present in the child. If the child has a Y chromosome, then that bipotential gonad is going to enter into the testicular developmental pathway. And if the Y chromosome is absent, then it is going to enter into the ovary development pathway. So testis will develop inside the abdomen during the intrauterine life, and it develops near the kidneys. Okay, in this image also you can see that these are the paired kidneys, and these testes are developing near the kidneys. And it is said that during the late pregnancy, that means about the third trimester of the pregnancy, and even after the pregnancy, even few months after the pregnancy, it is observed that these testes will descend into the scrotum through the inguinal canal. And then after that, they will remain there permanently throughout life. Now, what am I trying to say here is that these testes, they develop in the abdominal cavity. And during the end of the pregnancy or immediately after pregnancy, and even it is seen that for a period of about 1 year after pregnancy, these testes will descend into the scrotum here. They will reach this position into the scrotum, and once they reach this position into the scrotum, they will remain here for the entire period of life. Now their development take place in the abdominal cavity, and they will migrate into the scrotum. The path through which these testes migrate is called the inguinal canal. A lot of people actually do not understand what inguinal canal is. Inguinal canal is nothing but just a oblique pathway through the abdominal wall. So there is a pair of inguinal canal, and from each inguinal canal, the testis will pass into the scrotum. And once it passes into the scrotum, that canal will close with the help of connective tissue. So here in this GIF, you can see how testes develop inside the abdominal cavity, but later on they will descend into the scrotum. Then the third thing that we are going to study is the functions of the testis. As far as functions are concerned, testis basically has dual function. It has a gametogenic function, that is, it produces sperms. Sperms are the male gametes. And it has steroidogenic function. Steroidogenic means it generates steroids. Steroids are the sex hormones. So testis basically takes part in the formation of androgens, which are the male hormones or hormones which lead to development of the male characteristics. And there are many hormones that fall within the category of this androgens. But the most important and the most commonly and the most talked about is testosterone. However, there are others also, such as dihydrotestosterone and DHEA. So, but amongst them, the most important is testosterone. And this is what we need to know at the level of class 11th and 12th. So I hope this slide is clear to you. Now we'll move on. Okay. So now we are going to study about the components of the testis. So if we talk about the components of the testis is composed of three things. It is composed of layers or tunics. Layers or tunics are the outer coverings of the testis. Okay, so there are three major layers or tunics of the testis. The second thing that the testis is composed of is called seminiferous tubules. Mind you that about 70 to 80% of the testicular mass and volume is actually composed of the seminiferous tubule. So most of the testis is composed of the seminiferous tubule. And the last thing that the testis is composed of is connective tissue. So the first we are going to study about the layers or tunics of the testis. So the testis is covered by three different layers. Moving from outside to inside, that is from outside of the testis towards the seminiferous tubule, we see three different layers. The outermost layer is called tunica vaginalis. In this diagram, this is the tunica vaginalis. You can notice that tunica vaginalis is an incomplete layer. It is incomplete. Incomplete means that it does not cover the testis completely. It only covers the testis in a half way, you can say, or only anteriorly. Then inner to tunica vaginalis is the middle layer, and this is the most important layer of the testis, known as tunica albuginea. The yellow colored layer that you see in this diagram, that is the tunica albuginea. And why it is important? Because it is this layer that invaginates within the testis, and it forms structures called septa. And due to the formation of these septa, the testis gets divided into many compartments called testicular lobules. So because of the formation of septa, many testicular lobules are formed, and it is said that each testis has about 250 testicular lobules. And then inner to tunica albuginea is the layer called tunica vasculosa. It is called tunica vasculosa because vascular refers to blood supply, and this layer has a lot of blood vessels. So if we talk about the three layers, the outermost is the tunica vaginalis, and inner to tunica vaginalis we have this middle layer called tunica albuginea, which is important in the sense that it forms the septa of the testis and divides the testis into many lobules called the testicular lobules. And then inner to this layer, we have the tunica vasculosa. So these are the three layers of the testis. Now let's talk about the seminiferous tubule, which forms the major portion of the testis. That is about 70 to 80% of the testicular mass and volume is formed by this seminiferous tubule. In the previous lecture, you have already studied a lot about seminiferous tubule. Here we are just going to talk a little bit about its gross morphology. These are U-shaped, highly coiled tubules, and they are the site of spermatogenesis. So when we was just before this, we were talking about two functions of testis, that is gametogenic function and steroidogenic function. So gametogenic function of the testis is actually occurring within the seminiferous tubule. And at last, we have the connective tissue. Now, connective tissue is a mixture of many cells and other non-living substances such as collagen within the testis, and this connective tissue is filled between the seminiferous tubule, and it consists of many types of cells such as WBC and structures like collagen, which forms the matrix. But here the most important thing that you need to know is about Leydig cells. What are Leydig cells? Leydig cells are specialized cells that are located outside the seminiferous tubule, and they are important in the sense that they produce testosterone. So for the steroidogenic function of the testis, the Leydig cells are very important, and for the gametogenic function of the testis, the seminiferous tubules are important. So I hope this is clear to you, and I will rub it for you because this chart is very important, and I have explained everything in this chart without writing much. So once you read this chart, I think everything will be clear to you. Also, while reading this chart, I would advise you to look at the diagram, because the diagram is handmade and everything is color coded here. The tunica vaginalis is of a separate color, which is an incomplete layer. The tunica albuginea is of yellow color, which is very important layer forming the testicular lobules. And the seminiferous tubules are there. And do not forget this layer, which is the innermost layer, the tunica vasculosa. So 3 layers: tunica vaginalis, tunica albuginea, tunica vasculosa, seminiferous tubules, and Leydig cells. This all forms the testis. So this is all what you need to know about testis. Now let us do some questions from this topic. So we have 2 multiple choice questions over here. The first question that we will do asks us that which of the following cells, it's asking about cells in the human testis, is responsible for steroidogenesis. So basically the question is asking us that which of the following cells present in the human testis produces the sex hormones. So you already know which cell is responsible for production of sex hormones. It is the Leydig cells. Sertoli cells are not responsible for production of sex hormones. They support the process of spermatogenesis. Spermatogonia is the germ cell. We have already studied the process of spermatogenesis in an earlier video, and spermatozoa are sperms. So Leydig cell is responsible for steroidogenesis. The next question is which tunic? Tunic means layer. Sometimes in question paper, they are, instead of asking you the word, instead of putting the word layer, they put the word tunic to confuse you. So tunic means layer. Which tunic of the testis is responsible for the formation of the testicular lobule? So here many name of different layers are given, but we already know that it is the tunica albuginea, which I said is the most important layer, and it forms septa, which leads to the formation of these structures called testicular lobules. Tunica vaginalis is not the answer. Tunica vasculosa is also not the answer. Tunica intima is not connected to this topic. Okay, so I hope this lecture was clear to you, and I hope that you learned a lot. So thank you.